Hello, and welcome to the next webinar of a series where we introduce our audience to growing and upcoming startups, thus giving a glimpse into the booming Canadian business world. I would like to introduce Shri Harsha and Sodaba, the co-founders of InheritChain, an upcoming legal tech startup set to revolutionize wills and trusts as we know them using blockchain technology, AI, and other impressive technological innovations. Without further ado, I would like to invite Shri Harsha and Sodaba to begin by introducing us to InheritChain by telling us more about the startup and how it is set to revolutionize wealth management. Sir and ma'am, I would request you to give us a short introduction to yourselves and tell us more about how you came up with the idea of InheritChain. Please also include what drove you to create products oriented towards reducing legal costs and give us an introduction to your target market and how your products will benefit your clients or buyers.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. That's a lot of questions, so I'm going to come back to you and ask what they were. But to introduce myself, my name is Sodaba Rami. I'm a lawyer here in Ontario. I'm also a co-founder and CPO at InheritChain. My main areas of practice is wills and estates, immigration and real estate. And then I'll let Harsha introduce himself, and then I'll talk about how we actually came up with InheritChain. Go ahead, Harsha.
Hey, hi Shashwat. Thank you so much for having us here. And I'm Sri Harsha, the CEO and the co-founder of InheritChain. I come from a background of product management and MBA, and have about 15 years experience in the tech industry. And InheritChain, as you rightly said, is a legal tech startup which is looking at revolutionizing the wealth and estate practice with blockchain. So back to you, Sudaba, as to how we came up with the idea.
Yeah. So our story started with me. Actually, during COVID, a client of mine called me and he needed a will done. Unfortunately, he was hospitalized for COVID and I wasn't able to go see him. He wasn't able to come to our office, and I just couldn't complete that transaction for him. And through that process, we came up with InheritChain because we wanted to know that there has to be a better way to help these clients where you're not able to see them physically. There could be a lot of different constraints. COVID was one at that time, but we live in a different world now. Anything can happen. And even just if nothing happens, just for the convenience of it as well, it's good to have a software where you can do the entire process remotely. And what sets us apart in InheritChain is not only do we create the entire will remotely, there's a blockchain factor where it helps store the document for the client securely.
Thank you. This is quite interesting how you took a problem which you faced in real life and made such an amazing thing out of it. I think it is quite inspirational and something to learn from for innovators, that you need to have a very entrepreneurial mind, even if and be able to actually look at real life situations and make solutions from them, making it easier for the human race in general, because I feel that your products definitely do have wide application. So talking more about the product, so what exactly will be your target market and how will it actually benefit your end users?
So our target market are lawyers. So the product here is built to help the new generation lawyers reach out to their clients in the smoothest possible way and reduce the friction between the lawyers and the clients when creating a will. The idea is to reduce the back and forth between the lawyers and clients in this communication. So we came up with client intake forms. We came up with digital signing or video signing of the wills. And there are more things like the trustee wallet or a client portal wherein the client can directly input the data. The client, if you look at the end customer, the end user can easily access the wills that they are drafting. One of the biggest problems has been once a will is drafted, it is handed out in paper, and this paper is vulnerable to forgery or any other theft or even destruction. And when something like a paper, the security that you're giving to your legacy is nothing but paper, then it becomes tough for someone to secure that legacy for a longer time. Think about it. Wills are one of the most important documents we make, and we are never there to defend it. And would you
Yes.
defend it with the security of paper, right? So this was one of the important things that we wanted to look at. We said, okay, if you're creating a solution, how is the solution going to look 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now? And why can't we create futuristic solutions today and start giving it to people so that they can build a product or they can actually improve their services to their clients? Our target market are law firms, small and solo law firms, because what we see is there is a resistance to change when it comes to bigger law firms, not because they don't want to change, it's more because they have very tedious processes when they want to change. Hence, we looked at decision makers who are ready and more connected with the technologies, who don't have so many processes in place that they, when they look at something that is interesting, they can go and jump onto something and embrace new technology. So our target market is law firms that are possibly less than 10 years or 15 years in the making. And sorry, your other question, I hope I answered your questions.
I also talked about how it will help reduce overall legal costs, both for the lawyer and also ultimately the cost for the lawyers will be reduced. So will it for the end user, like the end client for the lawyer, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So the way it works for both, actually, it benefits both the lawyer himself or herself as well as the client, because it helps the lawyer save time. So for example, let's say you're doing a manual will, it takes you 5 hours or 10 hours. With our software, it'll take you a fraction of the time. That leaves you more time to take on further clients or take on more files or do something different. So that saves you money as well as time. In terms of the client, we're not too worried about saving them money. We're trying to solve a real problem for them with when it comes to their last legacy. So whether they're paying $5 or they're paying $10, it doesn't really matter, because their will is a very important document. So we're trying to provide the security for them through blockchain to be able to help them keep that will or that document for the next 20, 30, 40 years when they're actually going to need it. It does save them costs because it saves time for the lawyer. In turn, they're not going to charge their client as much. However, we cannot determine that's different for each firm. So it's up to the lawyer to save costs for them. But our job is to provide that security for that end user to make sure that they have their important document secured and delivered to them when it's absolutely needed.
Well, definitely.
Yes. Just to add on to that.
Yeah, sorry. Please go on.
Just to add on to that, even for the lawyer, if you look at it, right now, lawyer uses many different softwares or technologies to get what we are trying to do. They might have a different client intake process. They might have a different, they might have a Zoom subscription. They might have a DocuSign subscription and another will drafting subscription. So what we're trying to do is we are getting all these solutions that they require into one. They don't need to get 10 different subscriptions when there is one legal tech which will take care of the end-to-end process for them. So similarly, when the lawyer saves money, it will reflect on the product to the end consumer as well.
Definitely. I feel that the product which you are developing and with the approach, especially where you will slowly help create a space where smaller law firms or people who are just beginning to start their law firm, you're creating a product which will actually help them scale up. And I feel that it is quite a noble cause. I really hope that more and more people are able to enjoy the benefit of the products you create. And especially with wills and trusts, which is something which I feel that it is a product which is going to have a global application, because ultimately it is something which everyone needs to do at some point in their life. And I definitely feel that the product which you are creating will definitely have a major application for people. So I will move on to my next question. Considering that you are going to use blockchain technology and smart contracts to develop your products, so do you believe that blockchain technology and smart contracts are the future of the legal industry? Like considering that you must have done a lot of research on this while developing your products, do you feel that there can be any other spaces in the legal field where the technology being developed by you at InheritChain might actually be helpful for people?
So, from the legal point of view, wills and estate could just be a starting point for us when we're looking at things like blockchain and AI and technologies that are coming. Blockchain, for example, can be used in real estate. It is being used in real estate for titles. There's a lot of fractional real estate also that's going on through blockchain, and also I think blockchain trading that's going on, right? So these are just few things, and contracts is another big space wherein blockchain can be used. The idea of blockchain is to create a proper trace of every transaction that's going on. And I see legal industry as one of the most important places where this could be used. Even when we are talking about wills, for example, when we are drafting a will and we are storing it on a blockchain, we are creating a registry. And look at anything that needs a registry, it could be done on a blockchain wherein you don't have to create it specially, but you could use the existing technology or the uses of the blockchain technology to create that registry.
Definitely, and I feel that this product, as you've explained, that as it is being being used in some other industries of the legal field as well, and I feel that it will definitely have the products which we are developing will slowly have a major impact and usage for various other legal fields as well. And I hope that you continue to develop such amazing technological innovations. So,
Yeah.
considering that the general applicability of blockchain and AI, do you think that you will like to the products which you are developing, they will also be relevant in the international market? And how exactly do you plan to do that? Like, I know it is a little preemptive question because you're still in the process of developing and growing, but just as a general thought.
Right.
Uh,
So will is not just, as you said yourself, every single person needs a will, or every single community or jurisdiction has a lawyer. There's legal documents that need to be produced. So we're not just focusing on Ontario, for example, not just the population of Ontario needs wills. Everyone needs it. Our plan at the moment is to expand in Canada. We're starting with Ontario. Our next plan is to go to BC, Alberta, and so forth, and then the US market. Once we're there, then we can actually take this globally. Harsha can add to it as well, but again, this is one of those issues that it's not just relevant to us, it's relevant globally. So if we can solve a problem for us, we can solve the problem anywhere. In terms of the technology of how we're doing it, I think Harsha can go ahead and answer that, because we have that backed up as well.
Yeah, so Shashwat, we are building a platform here. We are building a legal automation platform. This is a platform wherein you have different pieces, wherein AI will help us generate documents. Let's say, then there is blockchain, which will help in securely storing these documents. There's a video signing, which will help us sign documents remotely and execute documents remotely. Now, this platform can be reused not just for wills, it can be reused for many other legal documents. So there is a way for us to scale vertically and also horizontal. So now the fact is we can go into any legal vertical and we can possibly build that solution once we have a platform up and running. And the piece of a platform, when we are using AI and some rules engine that we are using, we have made it in such a way that if you look at wills or any other documents, 80% of the document content is the same. However, the 20% would change from legislation to legislation. uh, from a technology point of view, we are looking at making it flexible, that 20%, wherein code is not required, we don't need to code it, and we can scale easily. And this is a design perspective we brought into the platform right from the beginning. How can we design something wherein I don't need to build a completely new product when I have to go into, let's say, a second province. I just need to do some minor changes or tweaks so that I can have this product working for a different region, right? So that's how we'll be able to scale. And once we have the product in the market, we'll be really quick in growing the product.
Well, definitely. I believe that your inputs were quite thought-provoking. And so, with this, I have another question that in this, as you go global, or even when you're trying to develop in Canada, you may need especially with blockchain technology, you may need some sort of government support as well. With developing more products whereby you can actually reach a bigger clientele and be your products more accessible to the markets and the masses. So what do you think will be the challenges associated with this, and how do you feel that you can bring through governmental support and aid, you will be actually able to promote your products better and make it more accessible?
Sure, I can take that question. So the environment, the Canadian startup environment is really thriving. And I think there's a lot of government support for startups that want to grow and build here. For example, we won a research grant of 200,000, and we were able to use that research grant to build out the product. And Canadian government and insert funding was what we used to build it along with college here. And the IP transfer, and we own the whole IP for it, right? Similarly, Canada also has many other organizations, like we're part of some great accelerators, like Accelerator Center. We graduated from Founders Institute, and we were part of Creative Destruction Lab at one point. And we see that Canadian government really wants to get entrepreneurs out there and explore the opportunities. And I think that mindset is great, because that's how you build new jobs. You create
Definitely.
you create new work, and that's how the business thrives, right? And the economy thrives. The next part of it is, how do you take it to different countries? And I think Canada has a CAN export or a trade commission, which will help us do that. We are still yet to explore, as we are still building out our product, but I think there are some great opportunities here.
And if we look at it in terms of the applicability of smart contracts and using blockchain technology to keep records, so do you think that eventually with the governmental filing and governmental records also, this can be quite helpful, this technology?
Yes, so that's the second part of your question, I believe, the first question as well. So legislations are different for different provinces. For example, British Columbia, it allows for remote signing of documents. It allows for, Alberta has a registry that is in place. And also there are provinces in US, for example, wherein there's blockchain law, there is electronic wills law. So there are changes, and governments are moving towards technology. And the COVID period has helped legal industry move towards that technology, be more technology friendly. And again, will governments start using blockchain as the ledger or the registry? I think it is definitely possible in the future. And I think that is how the future would look like. I'm pretty sure that there are already some provinces which are using blockchain ledgers. I'm pretty sure that there are some European countries like Estonia and Latvia, I believe, who are very very technology forward and have used that. Again, change will take time. And as a technology company, we should always think about where the technology will be by the time you launch or when you're ready, rather than what it is now.
Definitely. And I believe that technology, day by day, it revolutionizes and changes drastically. If we look at our lives 10 years before, because of technology, the way we work, the way we conduct our daily lives has significant change. And definitely, the use of technology will actually make it different. And we don't know how amazing technology will become with every year. So, well, I completely
Definitely,
agree with you.
we're already seeing so many changes in the legal industry. Again, just from like 3 years ago, since COVID started, so many things have changed. So many transactions are happening online. Just real estate transactions are happening online. There's a great opportunity for us to be a step ahead. And when the society is ready for it, or when the industry is ready for it, we're also ready.
Well, definitely. And I really appreciate how forward thinking you are, and I really believe that we have some great things ahead to look forward to with your team and with InheritChain. Yes. And okay, so then I will move on to my next question regarding the how you are targeting a niche legal field. And be considering that you are pioneers and thought leaders in a very in the niche field of wills and trusts. So how do you plan to market your services to attorneys and other stakeholders in this field? Do you have any marketing tips for other entrepreneurs who might actually be looking to enter the legal tech field with the different sort of products? Because as we know that the Canadian startup market is booming a lot, and a lot of people are coming up with numerous ideas. So I'm sure that any inputs you can give will be really, really helpful to our audience.
So we've been doing a lot of thought leadership. The idea is for people for the lawyers to understand the technology before they can go ahead and accept it. So we have been collaborating with different colleges. We have been doing thought leadership and CPDRs for law firms and lawyers. And maybe Sudhaba can talk a little more about it. Very recently, we did a webinar and a hybrid webinar on blockchain and legal and the impacts of it. We went to TMU, Toronto Metropolitan University, and we interacted with the second year law students, and we showed them what can be done with the product like InheritChain. How can they use blockchain to one of the products or one of the services such as wills and estate, right? Practices like wills and estate. So I think it is about introducing this product to different, not just product, introducing technology to the practice and making them understand what they can, how they can leverage technology. As part of our outreach, I'm a tech mentor at Toronto Metropolitan Law School, and we're trying to reach them young. If you think about it, that is what Microsoft does as well, when they give you all these Microsoft credits and free Word, and so that's. I would not just say it's a marketing technology. It's also a thought leadership in the sense that if you want that change to happen, you need to be that change.
Yes,
you need to promote that change.
And just to add to what Harsha is saying, at the moment, we're not really trying to market our product. We have our product ready, and we have a very close group of lawyers that are testing it and giving us feedback. What our goal at the moment is to raise awareness about the technology, what it is and what it can do. It's still a relatively new concept, blockchain. Me, for example, I learned about it about 3 years ago because, again, my head was so into law, but I realized the potential it has and what it can do for my practice, what it can do for other people's practice, what it could just do in the legal industry altogether. So the CPD hours we're having, the thought leadership programs we're having with other colleges, it's just to raise awareness about what the technology is and what it can actually do in the legal field. And we're hoping that with that awareness, people will understand what we're trying to do with our software as well once we actually come to the market.
Well, I definitely appreciate your approach towards this, that you're going slow and steady so that and I really support this idea of slow and steady wins the race. And I really appreciate your thought process and the way you're moving forward with it. And I believe that it is something which a lot of young innovators should actually learn about, because especially in today's fast-paced world, everybody's looking for quick results. And
Yes.
It shows a lot of maturity the way you're dealing with your product, and you're not you're not overexcited by it. I know you've developed an amazing product, but you're still working on the kinks, and this is something which people should definitely learn from. So I will move on to the next question. This will be a little more towards the legal aspect of a Canadian startup. And I'm sure, and I'm quite grateful for you to join us, Sudhava, because being a lawyer, I'm sure you'll have a lot of input on this.
I hope
So,
so. No pressure.
so while navigating the Canadian startup ecosystem, what do you think about the compliance laws in Canada? Like, especially considering that your startup is operating in the legal tech field, and whether you found any issues while coming across with legal compliances while developing your products, and generally for the startup ecosystem also, what do you think is the approach towards legal compliance?
Ask your question. So,
Yeah, I will.
okay, so basically, when it comes to data compliance, we are dealing with a lot of personal information, and there are compliance such as PIPEDA in Canada. There is GDPR in Europe. These are the things that we need to be compliant for when we are storing data of the end clients on our platform. Apart from that, there are some security compliances such as SOC 2 compliance, which we might need to do when we're providing services to our clients. And then there is also Ontario government certification, or the product certification that happens from the law societies. So it could be LSO in our case, and it could be a different organization when we are going to a different province. So these are the considerations that we look at when we are trying to put the product out there.
Okay, that is quite interesting, and well, I really thank you for sharing this with us. So, other than this, do you have any other recommendations or thoughts which you would like to share with our audience, which most of them will contain upcoming entrepreneurs in Canada and throughout the world? Any words of wisdom which you would like to share with them? And
So if you're an entrepreneur in Canada, there is a very vibrant ecosystem. There's so many accelerators and incubators that they can utilize. I would say don't be shy about your product. Get out there and start validating your product before you start building anything. It's important to validate what you're building, and spend a good amount of time validating. Don't leave your job and start working on that. If you already have a job and you're planning to move into it, validate your product first, and then you go into the building phase. Reach out to many of the accelerators and incubators. For example, we were at Founders Institute, which really helped us make connections. At Accelerator Center, which gives us dilution-free funds, right? Undiluted funds. So these things that in the ecosystem, they help you build product, not just the product, build a company. And what I've learned coming from a corporate to a startup ecosystem is, as a corporate, you get siloed and you're very busy and doing what is given to you. You do not collaborate enough. Whereas in a startup ecosystem, you collaborate with many other startup founders.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
because all of you are in the young stages, and possibly you're building ecosystem of products while you collaborate. And sometimes, okay, I want a lawyer. Who's the best person for legal advice? Who's the best person for shred credits? So we connect and we share contacts and we try to talk to each other and get help from each other because everybody is at a different stage. We learn from each other.
And I agree. I would like to add that's one of the main things I've learned as well with starting my practice as well as starting InheritChain is your network is everything. So make sure you go out there, you talk to as many people as you can, especially when they're like-minded and they're going through the same journey. You'd be surprised what comes out of it.
Well, definitely, I completely agree with you. And well, it is true that your network is your net worth. And it is, and I believe that your words of
You have
wisdom
a
are
good coach coming out of you. Huh?
Yes.
You've got a great coach coming out of you.
and definitely, I think that when you more you interact with the learned people, learned experienced people like you, there is definitely a lot to learn. And I'm quite grateful to have the opportunity to have you with us and learn a lot from you. I'm sure that there are a lot of questions which we can keep on asking, but considering the paucity of time, and I would really like to thank you for having joined us today and providing enlightenment about your startup and how your products are actually going to bring innovation in the growing legal field and especially bring shine some light on the legal tech field, which is something which is quite a niche but groundbreaking field. And I'm sure that our listening audience would have learned a lot. And I would love to have you on one of our next sessions so that we can learn more about how about the growth Inherit Chain has had and how you have grown as entrepreneurs. Considering that, Mr. Harsha, that you were previously in the corporate field, and Sudhava, that you are also a lawyer, and it is definitely really, really great to have you with us. I would really like to heartily thank you for having joined us today.
No, we thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
us. Yeah, thank you very much. It was a great conversation, and we look forward to speaking with you more.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shashwat. This is a great opportunity for us to share our product and our ideas. And also, it's very impressive to see young lawyers like you trying to showcase what's present in the legal tech field, what are the offerings in the legal tech field. I think this is what will lead to the change. And thank you for being part of that change.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your kind words are really, really inspirational for me.